Welcome to the RANZCP exam info session. The most common question, of course, is, what's this about? I guess the reason why we considered this info session before the courses was to help individuals prepare from a longer term perspective. It's not so much about what to do for the EMQ, or what's the EMQ about, or what's the MCQ about. It's about understanding what the journey holds for you over the next 5 years or 6 years, and what are the opportunities afterwards. So it's really about preparation, and what are the tips that I can provide based on collective experience, of my peers, the colleagues that I've met, my personal experience, and to share some of that with you. So I hope that there is a lot of valuable information there for you to take and implement along your journey. And I think the most important thing along your journey for the next however many years is to kind of have fun and enjoy it. Make connections, networks, make friends. Because to be quite honest, psychiatry is a fascinating field. It's a great profession to be in. I'm ecstatic to actually be a psychiatrist, and I see a lot of opportunities. But when I backtrack, I kind of wish that I would have got some of the advice that I'm going to provide right at the start, which is essentially what I'm trying to do today. So, I'm Sanil Rege, as you can see, and I'll start off with giving you a little bit of a background, a little bit about myself, and I'm doing this because some of the things I'll be talking about have helped me transition from different places, things I've learned along the way. So I grew up in the Middle East, in United Arab Emirates, in Dubai, and I moved to India to study medicine when I was 16. Following that, after completing my medical degree, I then applied for PLAB, completed the PLAB exam, went to the UK, and I applied for psychiatry training, and that's when I first got in. After completing my Part 1 exam, I decided to take a sabbatical for 6 months and apply to work in Egypt. And I did that from sort of a cultural perspective. I thought I'd grown up in the Middle East, and I would like to sort of get an understanding of psychiatry in the Arabic world. And that was a really great experience. I did write an article about it called Psychiatry in the Land of the Sphinx, and I made a case for sabbaticals for people to apply if that was something that they would find interesting, because it is an eye-opening experience. It gives you understanding about how things would, how psychiatry can work in a different cultural setting, but also with different resources. So it is a skill set that one can develop through sabbaticals. Following Egypt, I went back to the UK and then completed my final clinical exam, which was the MRC Psych. And then I came to Australia really as a 6-month stint, and I thought, I'll come to Australia, see what it's like. It was kind of a sabbatical, an intention at least. And then once I arrived in Australia, I guess there were lots of opportunities, and there still continue to be lots of opportunities. So I think that's when I decided to sort of settle down. So when I came to Australia, the first role that I had was in Gosford in New South Wales. And following that, I completed my exam whilst I was at Gosford, and then did my first locum in Alice Springs, because again, here, just amazing cultural aspects to explore in Australia, and that was when I sort of did my first locum in Alice Springs. Welcome. And then went to Darwin and did 6 months psychiatry in Darwin, which was a really, really fascinating experience. Following that, I went to Western Australia in a place called Rockingham. I was there for 1.5 years, and then did a locum in New Zealand, then Tasmania for a month, and then finally decided to sort of settle down in Victoria. So I'm currently a consultant psychiatrist working in private. So I work full-time private. So I do private hospital work and private clinical work. So I've worked in different settings, and I guess Victoria was I decided to sort of settle down there pure, really lifestyle reasons. So I'm in the Mornington Peninsula to kind of achieve a work-life balance. Everyone's going to have a sort of different aim. I love Melbourne, but so having grown up in cities and stuff, I think I've exhausted my my city desires anymore.